Aral. In this lesson, we're going to talk about pedigree analysis, particularly in regards with classical genetics. So for the preliminary activities, record the sessions. What I'm doing right now, prayer, classroom etiquettes. This PowerPoint is for our CPU session. Pero yeah, ito na lang yung ginamit ko for this recorded session. So the objectives for this lesson are the following. First, to be able to identify the mode of inheritance of a particular trait given the family. Second is predict the genotypes of the parents. And third is to compute the probability of the occurrence of an affected offspring in a given cause. So, in advanced genetics, we'll be able to use the law of multiplication in our previous discussion. So now, let me ask you this question. What comes into your mind when you read pedigree? I'll give you guys 3 seconds to think. So that's 3 seconds. Okay. So I think most of you thought of this pedigree food. Pedigree dog food. So this is pagkain na ating mga fur babies, but no, we will not talk about that. The pedigree that I'm referring to is much more like this. So it's composed of circle, square, shaded, and shaded shapes. But basically, what pedigree chart is it is actually a record of the family of an individual used to study hereditary information. So through this chart, through the analysis of that pedigree, the genetic counselor, for example, is able to predict probability of the disease in children or calculate probability of the occurrence of an affected offspring in a given cause. For example, yung parents, meron a trait na what is the probability of the offspring having that specific trait as well. So that's the importance of the pedigree chart. So the pedigree chart could also be incomplete due to difficulties collecting information, since it's not enough to just have one generation. It's not enough to know one generation. So it should be 3 generations or more para makita mo yung inheritance pattern ng specific trait or genetic disease. So of course, that will be useful. Genetic chart will be really useful when there are large families with good family over several generations para mas maging maayos yung pag-analyze. Okay, so we have here catalogs of genetic traits. So this is where you can find all the known genetic trait na meron sa isang tao. May mapapasang trait from one. So if you're curious or if you want to know more about that specific trait, you can go ahead and search NCBI on in that. So yeah. Okay, so now let's go here to the pedigree symbols. So let's start with the square. So if you see a square, it means that that person or that individual is male. So if circle naman, that is female. And if you see a line connecting this two, means that they are married or sila yung parents. So we can also call this line as the baby. And if you see double lines connecting the parents, it means that they mated even though they were relatives, or mating happened with relatives. We call that consanguineous mating or relationship. So here, makikita natin, this is just a portion of a pedigree chart. So as you can see, these are the parents and these are the offspring. So again, this is the mating line, and here we call it the sibs line kasi it connects the siblings. So another thing that you can see here is the Roman numerals. So this indicates the generation that is present in the chart. So here, meron tayong 2 generations. generation. So first generation is for parents, and second generation is for the offspring. Aside from that, meron din tayo Arabic numerals or Arabic numbers that symbolize birth order within generations. For example, nauna ito, parang we could say that the panganay is itong male, and then followed by a female, followed by a male offspring. So next, if you see this symbol, it means that merong monozygotic twins or identical twins. Again, ito naman, the zygotic twins. Particularly, they are both male. Ito naman, they're both female. So, fraternal. So if ganyan, diamond yung shape, means that the offspring has an unknown sex. So, ganyan, triangle na shaded, sabihin, the child is or the individual is supported is the offspring. So if may slash, yung square or circle, ibig sabihin that person or individual is deceased. And the thing that you think of is if it is shaded or not. If it is not shaded, it individual is not affected. If it is shaded, sabihin, that individual is affected. So we also have this term proband. So we use that proband to identify kung sino yung nagkaroon ng trait, sino yung unang nagkaroon ng ganung trait sa family. For example, sa first generation, wala. Second generation, wala. Third generation, so anong nagkaroon ng case, ibig sabihin of that person a proband. Also, baka makakita kayo itong symbols, yung half yung shaded, half yung sabihin, meron siyang shaded na heterozygote. So, ibig sabihin, one dominant and one recessive allele. For example lang yun. So, another, if it looks like this, ibig sabihin that person is a carrier of X-linked recessive trait. If you see a date underneath the symbol, it indicates the date of death, the date of death. So, pag may question mark, ibig sabihin, questionable whether it was trait. And if it has a line in between, it means that the person is asymptomatic or asymptomatic. And if it has double line, if the parents have double means that it indicates infertility. Okay, so understanding the pedigree chart. So knowing the symbols, we'll be able to understand the pedigree chart na, of course. So as a review, the circles here are female and the spheres are male. So this is the mating line and this is the this is the Sims line. So the shaded ones are affected and the unshaded, they are the affected individuals. So how many individuals are in this pedigree? We'll be able to know that by just counting how many spheres and symbols we have here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So we have 20 individuals. First thing, wait lang guys, kasi yung mouse. So that's 20. Okay, so how many generations? So we can know the generations by counting ang ilang lines pa siya, particularly ilang lines. So we have 4 generations. We have 4 generations. So how many are affected? How many are affected? Tatlo. Kasi that's shaded. 4 the affected individuals. So for us to know or distinguish ano yung sino, yung mga affected individuals, kailangan natin muna sila i-identify. So, gagamit tayo ng Arabic numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then, so uulit siya, babalik siya sa 1 per generation. 4, 5. Okay, so for the affected individuals, those are generation 1, generation third individual evolution for second for okay. So these are the affected individuals. And then yung naming na lang. Siyempre, hindi mo naman pwede sulat na pwede naman. Pero paano pag ito, Jose. So ito din, Jose. So, for example, medyo magkakalimutan. That's why we use this kind of naming system. Okay, now nakakain. Parang naiintindihan natin. But we short, let's go now to the mode of inheritance. So, mode of inheritance is the manner in which a genetic trait or disorder is passed from one generation to the next. So, the examples are autosomal dominant, autosomal recessive, X-linked dominant, X-linked recessive, Y-linked, and Y-linked inheritance. So, this autosomal dominant and autosomal recessive, ito yung i-discuss natin today. The X-linked and the other sex-related inheritance, we're going to discuss that on the following topics. Okay? So, start tayo sa autosomal dominant trait or autosomal dominant pattern of inheritance. So, the genes for autosomal dominant, the genes for autosomal dominant traits are located on one of the 44 autosomes. So, as you can remember, our cells, meron tayong 26 pairs of chromosomes and 23rd pair, 23 pairs of chromosomes. So, the 23rd pair actually constitutes for the sex or the gender of the person, and the 22 pairs or the 44 chromosomes are actually autosomes or body chromosomes. So, the genes are dominant, which indicates that individuals with only one copy of the genes are affected. So, ibig sabihin, since the trait that we're trying to trace is dominant, ibig sabihin, at least one dominant allele, pag may kahit one copy ng dominant allele ng isang tao, ibig sabihin, may express yung trait na yun. So, for example, here, the affected individuals are those na treated. And as you can see, hetero. So, even though may isa silang trait, na-express pa rin. Kasi dominant trait na yun. I mean, kahit isa lang yung allele for the dominant trait, na-express pa rin. Okay, so, what are the characteristics of autosomal dominant traits? So, the characteristics for autosomal dominant traits are the following. So, first, males and females are equally likely to have the trait, so it doesn't matter if you're a male or female, you're still gonna have that dominant trait. Okay? Next. So, traits do not skip generation because there are no carriers for the trait. So, the first thing that I could give you as a tip in understanding the pedigree chart, for example, dito kasi makikita natin yung genotypes natin. So, for example, nakita kayo ng isang pedigree chart, ako na yung titignan if nagsiskip ba siya ng generation. Pag nag-skip siya ng generation, sabihin, recessive siya. Pag hindi siya nag-skip, ibig sabihin, dominant yung trait ng mga affected people. So, for example, dito sa first generation, tayo, merong affected individual. That's why in the second generation, most likely yung mga happiness magkakaroon ka ng affected individual as well. Sa second generation, meron. So, sa third generation, meron rin affected. So, hindi siya nagsiskip ng generation. Yung trait na yun, na ma-observe mo per generation. That's why it's considered to be the dominant. The pattern of inheritance is autosomal dominant. Next, sabi din dito, there are no carriers for the trait. So, we call a person carrier if that person doesn't express the trait, pero meron siya ng allele. For example, here. So, bakit tinawag mo wala tayong carrier? Kasi pag ganito yung genotype mo, meron kang heterozygous yung genotype mo, ibig sabihin, you're still gonna express the trait kahit na isa lang yung dominant. So, ganun kasi diba pag dominant trait. Kahit isang allele lang, may express mo pa rin. So, you don't just carry the trait. you express it. That's why in autosomal dominant pattern of inheritance, wala tayong carriers. Kasi i-express nyo yung recessives. Okay? Next, the trait is present whenever a single copy of corresponding is present. So, yun yung sinasabi natin kanina na once doesn't matter if it's homozygous dominant or hetero, for as long as marriage is identical dominantly expressed trait. Next, there is male-female transmission. So this means mothers can pass the traits to their son. And sex-related inheritance kasi there are instances na if the male parent is affected, pwede niya nang mapasa yung trait na yun or yung gene sa daughters, sa babae. Hindi pwede sa lalaki. Okay, so this is another example of a pedigree of a dominant trait. So this is for hand-pounds trait of disease, maritime, meeting, and later on, I'll show you guys how to compute or how to compute the probability of this number 14. Probability, for example, later. Okay, so these are some of the autosomal dominant traits that you could find in the catalog sila. So it's for you guys understand kung ano yung trait and if you're interested, pwede nga kayo search pa more about that. Okay, so next is the autosomal recessive. So kung kanina that is the trait is dominant, here naman the trait is recessive. So the recessive trait are located on one of the 44 autosomes. So since the genes are recessive, it indicates that the individual must possess 2 copies of the recessive allele in order to exhibit the trait. So katulad ng lesson natin before, para magkaroon or para ma-express yung trait na yun, dapat meron siyang dalawang recessive na allele. For example, here sa pedigree natin, lahat ng affected meron silang dalawang recessive allele. So dalawang small a, dalawang small a, and dalawang small a. Okay? So characteristics of autosomal recessive traits include males and females are equally likely to have the trait. So again, it doesn't matter if you're a male or female for as long as meron yung gene na yun within 44 autosomes, magkakaroon din ng trait. So traits often skip generations due to possibility of carriers. So kanina, sa dominant traits natin, dominant traits or autosomal dominant pattern of inheritance, per generation na siya skip kasi wala kang carriers. So pag meron kang heterozygous, automatically ma-express mo yung trait. Pero here kasi ma-express mo yung trait pag meron kang dalawang recessive na allele. So we also have this carriers. We call this carriers. Yung hetero, bakit sila carriers? So as you can see here, sa third generation, yung parents, compare number 1 here, 3, 1, it's 1, this is 2. So 1 and 2 individuals, yung anak nila, meron silang affected and then meron silang unaffected. So these two, they are actually carriers lang. So they just carry the allele pero they don't actually express it. Kasi the allele that they carry is recessive. So hindi nila yun ma-express unless meron na recessive allele. For example, here, yung anak nila, kaya nagkaroon ng affected kasi this or one allele came from the mother, from the father. Kasi pag binat-square natin yan, 2 heterozygote parent. I'm sorry for the dogs na rin yung bata. And yeah. So, itong parents na to, they have 25% chance of having affected offspring. So, ito yung affected offspring and meron tayo dito unaffected offspring. Pero as you can see, bakit ganyan? A and meron tayo underscore. That is because, or that means that one allele is known. Kasi pag pinanasquare na natin siya, it could be homozygous dominant or heterozygous. Or heterozygous. So, hindi pa natin ma-identify kasi kung homozygous siya or hetero. That's why, black na lang yun. Pero here, bakit natin na-identify ito as hetero? Kasi diba, parang pag meron ka pag unaffected ka in autosomal recessive, pag unaffected ka, ibig sabihin, could either have big A, homo, or hetero. Pero why is it hetero? Bakit we're sure of it as hetero? Kasi nagkaroon siya ng anak na unaffected. Kasi if you cross, for example, ginawa mo siyang AA, na big, ginawa mo siyang hetero. So if you do the Punnett square of that, cross mo siya sa hetero, what you will have is like this. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Big A, big A, okay, naging, do it again. So, for example, nag-cross tayo homozygous dominant sa hetero. So it will be a but there's no possibility to magkaroon silang affected individual. Eh, may kita nga natin yung offspring na magkaroon ng trait na yun. So, bawal na yan. You're bawal na yan. So, the answer is big A, small a. Okay. So, only homozygous recessive individuals have the trait of this. Kasi, kailangan niya ng dalawang para ma-express yung trait. And if the parent has this trait, those offspring, traits may appear in siblings without appearing in the parents. So as you can see here, the siblings affected, two of the siblings affected sila, pero yung parents hindi. Kasi yung parents, they're just the carriers. So another is, if a parent has the trait, those offspring who do not have it are heterozygous trait. So as you can see here, since affected nga yung parents mo, what will happen is the child or the offspring na meron is automatically heterozygous. Bakit siya heterozygous? Kasi itong one allele, since ang mabibigay niya lang naman is yung small a, so automatically small a. And since they are unaffected, so ibig sabihin, big A na yung isang allele or dominant coming from the other side. So these are some of the examples of autosomal recessive traits: albinism, cystic fibrosis. Yeah. So how do we analyze pedigrees? First, identify if the trait is autosomal recessive. Second, identify the possible types of developments. So here is the first example: is a widow's peak a dominant or recessive trait? So yun yung makikita nyo sa pagkano. So that's widow's peak. So based on this pedigree, is this recessive or dominant trait? The correct answer is, it is the dominant trait. Why is it dominant trait? Because first of all, it doesn't speak generation. If parent first generation or the parents, may kita natin sa second generation sa offspring ng grandparents or your parents, meron silang trait. And of course, since may trait nga yung parents mo, there's the tito, may kita natin na meron din sa third generation. That's why it is a dominant trait. So, hindi naman na natin kailangan i-identify genotypes kasi dito na siya. Pero, yeah. So, by looking at the genotypes as well, so, lahat ng may hetero, merong trait na yun. Kasi if you're hetero and it is recessive, hindi mo ma-express yung trait. So, dapat since hetero here are affected individuals, ibig sabihin, that trait is dominant. Next. So, is the inability to taste a chemical code PTC a dominant or recessive trait? So, this is a recessive trait. So, bakit siya recessive trait? Kasi nag-skip siya dito sa family na. So, first generation sa parents, nag-skip siya. Or, I mean, walang affected individual, pero sa second generation, meron affected individual. So, meaning to say, the grandparents of the first generation here, they were just carriers. That's why the offspring, meron silang offspring na affected as well as unaffected. Okay, so another example is the trait for tongue rolling. For the trait of a person, genes play a part in tongue rolling, so like people are able to roll their tongue. I don't know, so very basic lang yung kind of pagtatang roll. Pero there are students last year, astig, kasi they can nagagawa talaga. So amazing. So it has something to do with the genes. Lang share. Pero of course, napapractice pa rin. Pero let's say for example, nandun tayo sa genes. Gene for tongue rolling. So this is an example of tongue rolling pedigree. Okay, so another example is tongue genes play a part in tongue like this. So I can just do it. I can just do the basic tongue rolling. Kasi meron akong suggest before, kaya parang overlay. Pero I can just do that. Pero yeah, genes play part in tongue rolling, but of course, for practice, kaya pa rin naman let's say for example, this is a trait that inherited. Okay, so the black signals, dito yung mga shaded ones, they are affected individuals. So sila yung mga tao and then below or squares na walang shades, unaffected individuals. So the first thing, of course, that we need to do or to analyze the pedigree chart is first, ano unang gagawin? Identify if the trait is dominant or recessive. So based on this pedigree, you can say that the trait is dominant. Kasi bakit dominant? Dominant siya kasi it does not skip generations. So first generation, second generation, third generation. So the next thing to do is to identify the gene type. So paano natin gagawin yun? Siyempre hindi tayo mag-start dito sa mga affected individuals kasi the affected individuals could either be homo-recessive, homo-dominant, or heterozygous. So para mas madali, start tayo sa mga recessive individuals or unaffected kasi you can be sure na dalawang recessive. Okay. Now, the dilemma is, para malaman natin kung ano genotype nito sa first generation ng Pino. So, para malaman, it could either be like this, big or small. So, unang-unang gagawin natin para mas mabilis nila. So, yung offspring nila, karoon sila ng affected individual. Tapos meron silang unaffected individual. So, if ito ba yung ginamit nyo, pag pinag-cross mo siya dito sa smaller, it will give you a gene type na talagang ulit. Of course not. Kasi ang mabibigay nyo lang is yung big R niya and yung mabibigay nyo is yung small R niya. Kapag pinanong mo yan, square mo yan, sorry. Siya nalululit ko. Square mo yan, it will just give you heterozygous. So, dapat ang result is unaffected silang lahat. Affected silang lahat. Pero meron pa nga unaffected offspring. So, dapat is heterozygous siya. So, square mo yan. Sorry guys, pero I have. So you have 50% of getting and affected offspring and 50% unaffected offspring. So, ito yung offspring na affected, ito yung unaffected. Okay? So, now, it's our hetero. Okay, here naman sa second generation, ano kayo yung genotypes? Okay, this is small or big, big or small or hetero. Kasi nagkaroon ka na alam na unaffected and affected. Okay, so ito, mapala nito. So the offspring, since 50% is this one, hetero, this one is, okay, is hetero. Okay, so ito naman, ito, para malaman natin, okay, the genotype of this individual is hetero din. Kasi nga pag pinag-cross mo both parents, where 50% of it is percent. So here, we're not sure pa if it's hetero or homo. So, like that. So here, since it's hetero, actually hetero. Kasi you need to have an offspring na merong ganito genotype. Kasi pag ginawa mo itong homo, kasi ito sure na hetero yan. Kasi hetero. Mas dalawa. So dito, pwede siyang RR. Ganyan. Kasi it has the trait, pero that person has a trait, pero it has a trait. Okay, that person has a trait. So to be sure na ito dapat yung genotype niya. Pag ito kasi nilaban mo, hindi ka magkakaroon ng individual or ng offspring na may ganito genotype. Kasi saan nagagaling sa isang allele galing dito. So, saan na isang allele na allele? So, dapat natin para magkaroon ka ng unaffected offspring. Okay. And then, next, albinism. Albinism is another type of genetic disorder sa progeneration. So, based on this pedigree, see na the trait is, in order to analyze the pedigree first, kailangan mo muna gawin anong trait yung dominant or recessive. So, this one is recessive. Bakit siya recessive? Kasi it's skip generation. So, dito sa first generation, mayroong albinism, but then second and third pala, sa fourth generation na lang siya nakita. So, the trait is recessive. So, to try the genotype of this as small a, 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 small a. So, let's try to identify kung ano yung genotypes nito PQ and XY. So, katulad ng sinabi natin kanina about autosomal recessive. So, pag mayroon kang offspring na affected, the parents might not, and the parents hindi siya affected, so the parents might be hetero. So, bakit siya hetero? Kasi these are the genotypes na pwede mong mag-cross that will give you the probability of having affected and unaffected offspring. So, let's try to do the Punnett square again. Kung pinag-cross mo yung dalawang hetero, alam ko, nagsasawa mo kayo. Ulit ako, pero ulitin ko ulit. So, you have this result. So, you have 25% of having affected offspring and 75% of unaffected offspring. So, katulad ng dito, meron tayong unaffected and meron tayong affected. So, bakit? Baka isipin nyo, bakit hindi na lang pwedeng dalawa na lang sila homo-dominant? Kasi unaffected sila. Yung sabihin, it's either dominant, homo-dominant, or hetero, diba? So, pag pinag-cross mo kasi yung dalawang homo-dominant, guys, I'll just give you lahat ng offspring should be unaffected. Pero, ang offspring nga ng PQ may So, bawal yan. So, bawal na yung ganyan. So, paano naman pag isa homodominant sa hetero? Pwede ba yan? Hindi. Of course, hindi. Kasi try natin. Cross mo yan. Homodominant and hetero. So, lahat yan, kahit magkaiba sila ng genotype, pero lahat yan will be unaffected. Pero yung offspring namin affected, that's why bawal din yan. So, the possible genotype na pwede natin ipag-cross for parents should be both heterozygous. Okay? So, that goes to say X and Y. Hetero din yan sa mga hetero. So, meron silang affected male child and unaffected female children. Okay, so let's have more problems. Sorry, guys. Parang medyo off sinabi ko. Ang energetic extension. So, identify the most scenarios for this example. So, this is recessive. So, why is it recessive? Kasi una-una, it's skip generations. So, we're tayo generations. And so, una pa lang, skip generations, second generation na lang magkaroon. Now, knowing that, what is the second thing to do? Kailangan natin i-identify yung genotype. Although, hindi naman ina-ask dito, pero para lang kung identify ulit natin yung genotype. So, since the trait is recessive, sabihin lahat ng shaded ones, sila yung affected, sila yung may recessive traits. For example, let's use R. Now, paano natin malalaman yung genotype ng bawat individuals? Start tayo dito. So, since meron silang, itong parents na meron silang offspring na affected and unaffected, so this safe to say that they are both hetero. And their offspring can be hetero or homo. Hetero or homo. So this one, diba, hetero or homo sila. Hetero or homo since unaffected sila eh. But then, if we're going to try to look into sa third generation, kaanak sila na affected and unaffected, so hindi sila pwedeng malalaman na natin ano yung and ano is na recessive pa din. So, hetero-hetero. Para pag pinag-process sila, 75% affected, 95% affected. Ay, mali. Okay. 75% unaffected, 95% affected. Next is, the pattern of inheritance for this one is dominant. Why is it dominant? Because it is not second generation, third generation. So, na-extend lang yung line na yun. Anyway, we just have 3 generations there. So, let's try to identify the genotypes again. So, since dominant itong mga to, yung trait na to, huwag tayo siya na ito. Start tayo dito sa unaffected. So, they have that recessive trait. Okay, so now, pwede na natin malaman ano, homozygous dominant or recessive. Oh my gosh, kung homozygous ba siya or hetero. So, the answer for this, ito mo, it has what? Hetero. Bakit hetero? Kasi meron kang anak na unaffected eh. Meron kang anak na unaffected. So, pag unaffected, diba the genotype is like this, dalawang allele na maliit, dalawang recessive allele. So, pag ginawa mo yung homodominant, bawal. Kasi, kailangan mo nga ng dalawang maliit na R. So, itong R na to, isang R lang kasi isa yan. So, isang maliit na R para sa father. So, dapat sa mother din sa maliit na R. affected. So, kahit na ganun yung genotype niya, still, since it's a dominant trait, ma-express pa rin. So, ayun. So, yun natin. So, pag Punnett square mo yan, the genotype. So, yan lang yung possible genotype kasi 50-50 yan. 50% of medicness, 50% of medicness. Okay? So, that proves to say that this one, dapat hetero din yan kasi nga meron pang unaffected na offspring. This will be easy. Now, we have another example of pedigree. So, look at the family of 4, 9, and 4, 10. If the trait is dominant, is it possible for them to have affected offspring? The answer is no. Kasi unang-una, if the trait is dominant, dapat, since meron silang affected na offspring, ito kasi yun. So, since meron silang affected na offspring, dapat kahit isa sa kanila affected ng trait na yun. Pero since wala, so, no, yung answer is number 1. Second, if the trait is recessive, is it possible for 4, 9, or 10 to have an offspring, unaffected offspring? So, the answer is yes. Why is it? The answer is yes. Because even though they are unaffected, they could still have, they could really, of course, have unaffected offspring. Kasi we could assume that they both have heterozygotes. So they don't have the trait, but they are just a carrier. That's why when you cross them, 95% getting affected and 75% getting unaffected offspring. Woo! Go guys! Nakakalito pa. So based on your answers for 1 and 2, is the trait dominant or recessive? So the trait is recessive. Give the genotypes of the following: 4, 9, 4, 10. So 9, 9, and 10. 5, 1. So this now. And 1, 1, and 1. So for 5, 1, pag Punnett-square natin ito, it could either be a or hetero. Or you can just simply write it as unknown. Pangalawang ID. So for 1, 1, and 1, so since this is a recessive trait, so automatically that's A. And this one, para magkaroon ka, this actually is not, the genotype of this is hetero. Why is it hetero? Kasi yung isang anak niya affected, so kailangan magkaroon. Okay. Next, if 4, 9, and 4, 10 were to have another child, what is the probability that they will have affected offspring? So kung magkakaanak ulit itong 4, 9, and 4, 10, what will be the probability? The probability is 25% or 1/4. Kasi pag Punnett-square mo siya, yun. Gets yun na? Okay. Second pedigree. So, is this trait dominant or recessive? Again, this is recessive kasi description of generation. What are the most probable genotypes of 1, 3, and 4? So, 1, 3, here's 1, 1, 3, and 1, 4. So, ewan ko kung nakikita niyo yung pattern. Pero once na nag-trait, the pattern of inheritance is recessive. Tapos, yung offspring, may offspring na affected automatically. The only possible genotype parents having hetero and hetero. What are the probable genotypes of 4 and 5? So again, since meron silang offspring na affected and affected, hetero and hetero. What is the probability of 2, 4, hetero, mag-asawa, will have another offspring? So, if Punnett-square mo yan, parang meron ka naman offspring or yung mag-express ng trait that would be 75% or 3 points. Sorry. Okay, advanced pedigree analysis. So here in advanced pedigree analysis, we're gonna use the law of multiplication as probability less or last discussion. Okay, so the following pedigree shows the inheritance of albinism, autosomal recessive disorder of skin pigmentation. So a woman, individual 4-4, has married her cousin, non-consensual relationship. So individual 4-5. So what is the probability of their first child will albino? Okay? So sinabi na dyan, hindi na lang the gene is recessive. And of course, kahit naman dito sa gene, alam naman skip siya ng generation. So since it is recessive, we try the genotypes of the affected individuals. So that's AAAA, small a, and small a. Okay. So next, so going to is, ito din pala. Itong individual, itong first child na yung Cecilia. So, it should have that kind of genotype para magkaroon siya ng albino, since albino is a recessive trait. Now, let's try to find out kung ano what do you call this? Ano yung genotype ng 4 and 5 parents. So, the genotype of 4 and 5 should be, katulad ng sinabi kanina, if the offspring is affected and the parents are unaffected, the only possible genotype na parents nila should be hetero. Okay? Now, are we sure? Wait lang. Kasi here, dito sa male parent, pag i-trace pa natin yan dito sa second generation at the third generation, yung parents niya, itong individual number 5, since affected yung mother niya, ibig sabihin, all of them, itong offspring, silang magkakapatid, should have A. Bakit lahat sila mayroong A? Kasi nga, ito lang yung mother nito. Mabibigay niya lang na at is yung maliit na A. So, automatically, lahat sila A. So, for the parent ng itong male, actually, ganyan na. Pero it doesn't matter kasi ang mabibigay niya is A na malaki. Bakit A na malaki? We can assume A na malaki. Kasi they are all unaffected. So, we can be sure na yung offspring na lahat na yun, sinabi din yun sa receiver, na one of the parent is affected if it's a recessive. Sabihin, yung offspring niya is hetero. So, yeah. A hetero. So, yung number 5, we're sure na the probability of number 5 to be hetero is 1. That's 100%. Now, here naman, sa male sa nanay, pag tinrace natin yun dito, the probability, not the probability, pero the genotype of her parents would be dalawang hetero. Para pag pinag-cross mo yan, there's a probability na mayroong offspring na affected and offspring na unaffected. Pero the question would be, kung pinanet square natin kasi pag pinag-score natin, itong AA na to, itong number 4, ipang-ewan number 4, bawal na yan. Kasi pag naging AA siya, ibig sabihin, AA na pa rin. Dapat affected siya. Pero since hindi siya affected, that will leave 2/3 na lang. So the probability of this individual na maging hetero is 2/3. And kailangan niya maging hetero para magkaroon, para malaman mo yung probability ng first child nila na maging albino. So, para magkaroon ka ng albino na child, pinag-cross mo silang dalawa, hetero, that is 1/4. And we know naman, para malaman mo yung probability, and probability of an event na mangyari, individual events, ganyan. So, apply the laws of multiplication. So, ang gagawin natin, multiply natin yung 2/3, the probability of her mother being hetero times probability of the child being albino. That will be 2/12 or 1/6. So, the probability of the first child to be albino will be 1/6. Okay. So, guys, that's all for our pedigree analysis. I hope may natutunan kayo, and if ever may cover sa sets nyo or sa college exams nyo, hindi nyo na siya uuulakan kasi alam nyo na paano ma-analyze sa pedigree chart. So, I'll see you again, guys,